Hi and welcome everyone to the book launch of Maya and the Sword of Gringotts, which is organized by Loxley Hall Publishing and the Book Bakers. Before I introduce you to the guest of honor, let us welcome our panelists for today. First on the list is someone who's an author and a screenwriter. He is Purush Bushwala. Then we have another...
Thank you very much, Tasmin.
Yes, welcome. Then we have another lovely actress who was also a popular VJ and a host. She is Pooja Ramachandran. Welcome, Pooja.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Yes. Next on the list is someone who's an author of an amazing book called The 10th Riddle. He is Sapan Saxena. Hi, Sapan.
Hey, Yasmin, how are you?
Yes. And also, we have someone who's a wonderful poet and a journalist. She is Alakya Dubey. Welcome. And now, let us all welcome the guest of honor, Meera Pillai. Welcome everyone to the book launch and congratulations to Meera.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
congratulations.
Congratulations, Meera.
Thanks to everyone for being here.
Yes, we are all excited, and when Sohail Mathu from the Book Bakers, he told me about the concept about this book. It is quite interesting, and it is the first part of the series. So Meera, the first question is to you. If you can tell us more about this book and how did the idea of writing this book originate?
So the thing is that I've always loved fantasy. I grew up reading, the Indian epic tales that explore about talking animals and warriors and the world beyond. And even I was always taken to stories like The Wizard of Oz and the Alice in Wonderland or The Hobbit. So I always knew if I had the opportunity to become a storyteller, then this is the genre I would have chosen. So Maya came to me through the bedtime stories that I used to tell my son when he was younger. And I always liked to tell him stories where the protagonist was always, most of the time, was a female superhero. It was a very calculated thing on my part that I wanted him to see women in a different light. Like he was so used to seeing the Spider-Man and the Thor. So I wanted him to have a vision where a girl, a very ordinary girl, can be a superhero. So I feel Maya is a perfect superhero in the sense that she's very relatable. So to tell just a small brief about the book, Maya and the Sword of Gringotts is about a 16-year-old teenage girl who lives a regular teenage life. But then one day she learns that she's part of a legacy where who are protectors of the earth, and her role is an important one where she felt she's supposed to be the savior of the planet. And this is the first, as you said, this is the first in the 3-part series. In this part, she learns to adapt to the new reality that she is suddenly pushed into. She learns to navigate through this fantastic world of creatures and sword fighters and intriguing prophecies. So it was her start of the journey. This book is her learning her legacy.
Quite interesting, and I like the character Maya, and I like the name Maya as well. It's quite interesting. The concept is quite interesting, and especially author from India and the concept, So let's go to Pooja. Let us know from Pooja, from a reader's point of view, what's your favorite part of the book and how did you like the overall concept?
Okay, so before I give you the answer to that, I'd just like to tell you a backstory of how I got introduced to Meera. We were in college and we were bunkmates. We were in the same room, and so every night she was a complete bookworm. Like if she's not like, she doesn't have the college textbooks in her hands, then she's probably reading a novel. She's always got some book in her hand, and most often it would be a fantasy fiction. And I think like the only way I got exposed to that kind of a genre of books was through Meera. So I was extremely, I'm the kind of girl who reads more about life and, self-help books and all that kind of stuff, and romantic love stories. And then Meera just introduces me to this whole new world. and I'm still trying to sort of get a hold of that kind of world. But it's intriguing for me to actually to see that like my own best friend has such like creative and such a beautiful vision. I mean, her imagination is something else. So I just thought that, when I started reading the books, I mean, especially this one, Maya and the Sword of Green, I was like, the first thing I asked her is, how did you come up with this? Like, where does your mind take you? What happens? What's the thought process of getting into, writing this kind of stuff? So I was very curious to know what she really thought and how she actually came about this story. And I really thought that the book was wonderful. And for me, as a person who doesn't read this kind of genre, for me, it was nice. It was new. It was different. And I sort of know, I know her so well that I know from where she's picking out the stories from. So I draw parallels to that, and I really enjoyed reading the book overall.
That's nice. I feel even everyone else on this panel has enjoyed reading this book. So let's go to Alolika. Alolika ma'am, what is the one thing that stands out for you in this book? If you can share your points of view.
Yeah, in this book, what I loved the most was how she portrays the character of Maya. In the sense, she humanizes it. For example, Maya has been shown as a very normal person. Like, she's just like one of us. Like, similar likes, dislikes, how a teenager would behave her age. And the best part is Meera hasn't made her from day one somebody who is amazing, in everything that she attempts. Even Maya has her moments of failure, and then she has difficulty in accepting, that she is the shining star. And so the entire journey, from how she is very perplexed when she finds out that, this legacy is kind of imposed upon her, to finally understanding and fighting her way and discovering the sword. That's the best part. And it's not because I really like Meera, but I am a lot into reading, and I have seen even Shakespeare. Like, whenever he creates a character, even the person who's like probably, the anti-hero, even that person has got very humane elements, and the hero is not perfect. Like Hamlet, Macbeth, all of them have their flaws. So I love the fact that, Meera thought about it, and, she humanizes that element in Maya. Maya is just like one of us, and how she evolves to be the one, she is. The shining star. That's that stood out for me. I love that.
It's kind of relatable for us. Like when you're reading, it's kind of
relatable.
And
the character development. That's many authors don't do it. Like, mostly authors say that, the protagonist would be somebody who's the most beautiful, most skilled. It's shown that how she fights and she fails. Everybody. Dhru's sister, makes fun of her, and then how she internalizes it and then discovers her true destiny. That's amazing.
Quite interesting. Meera, if you can tell us, what was your thought process and how much time did it take basically to write down this story? When did you start writing?
So as I said, I wrote it when this came to me it was like a part of the stories that I used to tell my son. But then I knew that this is a character, if I'm reading a book, this is a character that I will be drawn to, especially if I was a young adult when I was, in my teenage years. And I want a character where, because Maya is somebody who, despite for the circumstances she's in, despite her legacy, she has this typical teenage insecurities. Like, she is awkward about how she looks. She is always thinking what the other person is doing, the peer pressures. She has her crushes and doesn't know how to handle being around boys. So she has the typical things. So what I wanted a character which reflected that, no matter where you come from, what it is, at the heart of it, you are this simple human behavior. You are the same, and I wanted that to be reflected in a character, not like what I didn't want a character which is glamorous and always, is high achieving. I wanted somebody who is average but can make her ordinary life extraordinary. So that's what, when I started telling this to my son, I knew that maybe I need to stretch it out and see whether it's worth, playing with the character. I, frankly speaking, because initially my intention was just to write it for my own interest, so I didn't have a time limit in my head. So I took quite leisure time to write this down. Maybe for the next one, I may not have that long a time. I'll have to finish it much sooner, but I don't even know how long it took because I just let it go slowly and I took it like leisurely.
I feel for the next one, we should have a book launch next week itself because, after reading, people will be eager for the next part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask Sapan the next question because he's an author and when a reader reads a book, it's different. When an author reads a book, it's completely different. So Sapan, if you can tell us, how did you like the writing style of Meera?
I'll tell you something. I have read the book twice. And the first time I read it as a reader and I loved it a lot. I also review books on my blog, so I would have definitely rated it 5 stars. I was just waiting for this launch. The second time I read it, I wanted to give it like a 6 star or 7 stars out of 5. It's a secret that every author wants to write one fantasy novel during his time, and not everyone has the confidence and the clarity to do it. Like they know that they are going to mess it up. In Meera's book, it's a big world that she has built up. There are so many characters, there are so many nomenclatures, tribes, new words, new terminologies, and never once you get confused while reading the book of who was what and which tribe was what and what are they speaking about. She introduces a complete new world and a complete new civilization and connects it with the world that we know of. And still we don't get confused. It's so crystal clear with each chapter that you want to tip your hat off to the clarity with which she has built her scenes. What you read as an end result is very interesting book for you to enjoy, but as an author, if you read from her lens, you also understand the immense effort that she would have put into writing this book, because that's how sharp the book finally comes out to be. The absolute confidence and control that she has over the story, narration, characters shown in the book, they come out very clearly. There is mystery, there is drama, there is romance, betrayal, David versus Goliath setup, love-hate relationship. Lots of things are there in this setup, and it's so very well gelled in. You never once feel that it's manufactured. It just flows very naturally. So all of this I'm speaking from the point of view of an author, because that's what I felt and that's what I believe she would have also had in her mind, and very clearly she tackled all of them. So definitely the complete confidence that she has in the book and the story, that reeks in the novel in each and every page, and that's how it's completely came out of the winner. I mean, when she was writing it, I'm definitely 100% sure that she knew that it would be coming out as a winner. And definitely as an author, I tip off my hat to her. She has written a very interesting book, and definitely looking forward to the next version.
Thank you so much.
That's really
kind words.
That's
really nice. Meera, you should be on cloud 9.
Cloud 100.
That was put so well.
Thanks so much, Sapan. Thanks so much. It means a lot, because when a fellow author appreciates your work, it means so much. Thanks so much.
And whoever is watching this also, you know what to do right now. Go buy the book. I'll leave the book link in the description after the book launch. So now the next part, what I wanted to ask to Purav is, basically a lot of books have been adapted into movies. And since he's a screenwriter, I just want to know from your point of view, do you think Meera's book has the potential to be adapted into a movie or TV series?
Certainly, it has. Of course, it should be. However, it depends on a lot of things, like the team, the director, who just have the vision. Like if you talk about Harry Potter, it was very well made into a movie. But at the same time, if you talk about Artemis Fowl, then that book, like Harry Potter is like the 7 or 8 book, Artemis Fowl is much more than that. But still, when it came to the screen, so it didn't do the magic. Same goes for Percy Jackson. So Meera has done her job, and she has done it wonderfully, I must say. If you want to talk about the screenplay adaptation, then it depends on a lot of factors. and the main factor is director. So that would be the precise answer, according to me. But Meera has done a part, and it does the story. If you talk about the story only, it certainly has the potential to go that way.
Yes, I hope so. Meera, if it is anytime in future, if this book is adapted into a movie or TV series, please let me know. I'd like to act like, a side actor or something. So just put my name
there. Done.
Yes, now this is my favorite part because, I interview a lot of authors, and when I tell the author to read something from the book, this is my favorite part. So if I can ask Meera to read something from the book, it will be really exciting for us.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to read the part which you all have read. So I'm just going to say a little bit. So this is the part where Maya learns about her legacy. So I'll just read a bit of that. There had been moments in Maya's life when she could have sworn that she had had an out-of-body experience. Times when she had felt that her soul or a sense physically deserted her and stood some distance away sneering at her. Like when she had fumbled on each word during her speech at the school's annual day, or when she had slipped and fallen headfirst in front of her favorite writer and idol, Rolla Baldwin. And of course, when Dhruvesh had asked her out. What was happening to her right now was the exact same thing, although it was more obscure than the rest. Maya reckoned that there was a chance this was all untrue, that her parents and friends had got together to play some twisted joke on her. It took a while for Maya to see something. The information her mother had just given her needed some time digesting. After what seemed like a long pause, during which all the others seemed to be waiting for her to react, Maya let out a nervous laugh, praying that someone would shout, "Got you!" But no one said a word. Okay, you guys are in your 90s, Dhruv is 100 and I'm 200. Cool, got it. Maya played along. I'm 20, said Dhruvesh with response. Maya scowled at him as he continued. Your parents are in their 90s, as are mine. This was the first time he had witnessed a person learn their true heritage, and Dhruvesh found it strangely fascinating to watch Maya's emotions unfold by the circle. How is that even possible? You both look so young, and if you're indeed 19 now, then that means that you had me when you were in your 70s? Maya responds, hysteria beginning to rise in her throat. She looked at everyone wide-eyed and realized they were all nodding in agreement. She was not wrong. You are all just messing around with me, I know. Is it April 1st? Have we lost track of time? Maya, I will explain everything. Better me than this person here, her mother said, pointing at Dhruvesh. His name is Dhruvesh, Maya responded indulgently. We don't care, her mother snapped. Maya threw her hands up in the air. That's it. Tell me exactly what is going on. Maya, we will tell you all that you need to know soon, assured Anand. Yes, we are seriously out of time. Maya needs to leave immediately. They do not know I am here to give you a head start, Dhruvesh interrupted. They are coming to our home, Bharat asked shocked. The moment I realized that people were being sent to collect her, I rushed over. I did not wait to see or hear anything else. Collect? What am I, a trophy? Maya asked furiously, feeling insulted. Collect is a term they use for taking, kidnapping, Dhruvesh answered hesitantly. Kidnapping? Somebody wants to kidnap me? Please tell me all this is a joke. Please, Maya begged, feeling terrified now. She realized no one was paying her any attention any longer. Instead, her parents were locked yet again in a verbal duel with Dhruvesh. All I want to do is protect Maya, Dhruvesh cried. Stop with the lies. I'm not lying. How did you know that Maya is the shiny star? Devaya asked. We have known that for at least a year now. They decided to take action only now. Don't ask me why, because I don't know, Dhruvesh said. I'm just going to skip that part. Maya, I know you're confused right now, but please listen to me. I'm not who they think I am. I'm not like my family. Vaishnavi walked up to Dhruvesh and slapped him hard across his face. You will not talk to my daughter again. Your people and you have done enough already. Dhruvesh continues to protest loudly as Bharat dragged him into the kitchen. Maya, I know you believe in me. Please leave immediately. Maya looked around the room. Anaya, Arnav uncle, Dev Bhaiya and Mom were visibly concerned. She had had enough with the secrets. Who is going to tell me everything before I run away?
Wonderful.
So this is where it ends for after she finds out more about her. Desmond, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
That was lovely. So let's go to the third segment, which is the Q&A session. I mean the rapid fire session. So the first question is to Pooja. If you can describe the book in one word.
Yeah. I would say it's totally. It takes you in one word. Okay, wait. Let me think of a good one word.
No worries.
It's mind blowing.
Mind blowing. Okay, the next one is to Alolika ma'am. What surprised you most about the book? Because since you're reading so many books, something must have surprised you in this book.
It's not I was surprised. It was like I felt wowed when it's written that Maya's parents, she discovers, this is the part where she read it also, that she discovers her parents are almost nearly 100, and even her grandmom Tara, even our conceptions of grandmothers are different, but Tara is somebody who goes on missions, fights, and so brave and agile. I wish it's not I was surprised, but I wish it could happen to us real life. So I would say that part, that age factor.
We all wish that. Let's go to Sapan. Would you recommend this book? If yes, then why?
Definitely more than 100%. I have been reading books almost on an average 2 per month since last 20 years, and over the last 5 or 6 years I have been reading mostly Indian authors. And one ruse that I always have is that most of the Indian authors do not go beyond the obvious. Like most of the books in the Indian authors would be around the same subject, like different flavors of the same subject. Either a romantic book, even if it's a fantasy genre, it would be like Harry Potter, like two boys and one girl are the protagonists, something like that. Even in mythological fiction, they would just go around the same, humanizing the mythological characters and stuff. So rarely it's a book comes up to you where you can just read it and say, wow, it's different. And this one book is definitely, I can say it's definitely different. I mean, I can definitely say that out of Indian writing that I've been reading, it's one of the most different books, unique books that I have read. So I've recommend. In fact, I have been doing it through my WhatsApp chats, FB groups, Messenger. I have been trying to recommend it to each and everyone. And I tell them that if you read up this book, you are in for a special treat.
Thank you.
Yes, everyone, I feel, whoever is watching also, please recommend this book to everyone, so it can be adapted one day to a movie and then I can get a chance to act. That's my main goal. So
which character would you choose to act?
He's yet to read.
I have not read the book.
He'll be the sword.
He'll be the sword.
So, Meera, now for the people who are watching, if you can give them one reason why they should read this book.
I think it's for the adventure, because I think the story gives you a glimpse into the infinite possibilities of life, and I think that is something we all crave for. That we, like what Alolika said, we just want to just experience something that sorry, my dog is barking.
He's also excited.
So the thing is, I think it's the infinite, like I said, it's the infinite possibilities that life gives. So it's all about, I think, the adventure that it assures the reader. So I think for that, they should definitely do it.
That's nice. So now the question is for everyone, if just one message to the author Meera and to the people who are watching. If everyone, maybe we can start with Sapan.
One message which I would want to give to Meera is definitely continue the good work. I'm definitely looking forward to the next one. Please carry the same confidence and enthusiasm in the next one. And to everyone who is watching, do give this one a read. I'm sure you will definitely like it.
Let's go with Pooja.
I'm always going to be biased with Meera. Whatever she writes for me, and I like Sapan put it so beautifully. I see that when someone is an author and they've written like, how nicely, even Alulika, I mean, they see it in a different way as opposed to me and, normal layman, a person who doesn't write or can't write to save her life. So I'm always going to be biased to Meera, and I feel like this is the first fantasy fiction I've ever read in my entire life, so this is going to be special for me. And also to everybody who's watching, I don't think I can promote it anymore saying that please buy this book and read it. You have to read it. So if I can read it, for someone who doesn't read this kind of genre, you can definitely read it. And it's so engaging, and I like the fact that it has so much of Indianness, like so many South Indian terms, and people will enjoy reading it. They will connect to it. So please buy it and please read it.
Yes. Now let's go to Porus.
Okay. So the message to the readers is that this book is not the way other books are written. It is something really different. Somewhere about page 30 or 40, you'll be shocked to see some words. I watch for that. And this book talks about something really philosophical, and Meera ji has done something really wonderful here. That this book talks about the inner beauty of the female. Usually male authors define females by using terms like their curves and everything, and the females talk about their courage and everything. Meera has transcended even that. She has talked about the inner beauty. So this is what I feel about the book. This book comes with a philosophy which is bigger than just the story. I believe this is the idea behind it. It's just like someone sees a painting and reduces it for himself. This is what I have deduced.
Thank you.
That's nice. Alulika ma'am.
I've been telling everybody that, please buy this book and everything, obviously. But when Meera told me for the first time that, this is something you might not, this is not typically your genre. But when I started, I have told this to her. It is like beyond science fiction, like how Porus said. I really liked his point of view. It's like, I would like to tell the readers, it's like a journey of self-discovery. Like, even great potential can be within very normal people, like us. So it's not that you have to be born with a, silver spoon in order to, reach glory. So Meera has, I think, so beautifully and very thoughtfully, done the character sketch of Maya, which is like amazing. So please, you should buy and read this book, because it will help you to, fathom different aspects of life, which is it's just not merely a fiction tale where people are fighting this, that. It has got a lot more to it. Like Porus said, there's a philosophical touch to it also. I completely agree with Porus.
That's nice. So now it's the time to show the book on the screen. I'll just take a screenshot as well. Everyone. Okay, it's 3, 2, 1. Everyone smile. Yes. Thank you. I think so. We are done with the book launch. Only before we go, I would just like to ask Meera, when is the next book going to come? Like, how soon can we expect?
I'm hoping within 1 year. By next year, this time, probably I'm hoping we'll have a launch. Another one. So I'm hoping.
Yes. So, anyways, my camera is conked off, and I think so only you can hear my voice.
Yes,
so it's time for us to.
Guiding us.
Yeah.
It's time for us to end the live stream. So thank you everyone for coming. It was really a fun session. And before we go ahead, I would just like to thank the book bakers, Sohail Mathur and Loxley Hall Publishing as well, for organizing this event. So thank you, and we will meet again for the second part, book launch.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Such a
All
pleasure.
the best, Meera.